Forbes Books presents Sustainable Leadership and Disruptive Growth with David Radlow. Transformation for a new and better world. Here's David.
Welcome back to my talk with John Bello, who's had an amazing career spanning decades of leadership with companies like General Foods, Pepsi, and the NFL. He also has started his own beverage company, SoBe, which he subsequently sold for $400 million. John, in part one, you mentioned your private equity investments. You're the managing director of JONA Investments, a family investment vehicle you started after leaving Pepsi. You're also chairman of the publicly traded beverage company called Reed's. What opportunities are out there that business caps should be focusing on right now? And do you find businesses are focusing and integrating sustainability in their strategy?
Well, that's an encompassing question. I know what I'm good at, and I know what I think. As I said earlier, there are a lot of opportunities, obviously, in the digital space, and just look at all the big companies out on the West Coast are also all the social platforms. That's not me. We utilize those. When I was back at SoBe and even at the NFL, we tried to paint ourselves as being concerned corporate citizens, and we were. And some of the programs that we did were things like the football score educational program, using football cards as an educational vehicle. We did a thing called the Man of the Year, where we promoted those players that did the most for the local community. And the United Way was just a big thing for the NFL at the time. In fact, NFL properties started as NFL charities, and all the money would go to various charities that the teams would have. When I went to SoBe, people would come to me, and I've had a couple business concepts where there would be either sustainability aspect to it or a charitable aspect to it. And I did a project called Firefighter Brands, where 10% of our profits were going to go to burn centers. Great concept, well received by some firefighter unions, some volunteers, but by and large, it was such a fragmented business, we couldn't pull it off and make it work. And as I like to say, no good deed shall go unpunished. I lost a lot of money on that project. So I don't look at those kinds of things as something that's important, at least to things that I do. My give back is frankly by hiring people, building out their careers, expanding the workforce, expanding their experience so they can take it other places. At SoBe, we had over 250 employees over time, many of which went on to other businesses. Some started some businesses and did very well. At the NFL, I had employees that I brought in who were professionals. One went off to become the commissioner for Major League Soccer. A couple started their own marketing company. One went to the USTA and ran the US Open. So I felt really good about that. And when people ask me what was your biggest success, I say it was that. And these are people that were hard to manage because they thought they could be running the company better than I. So you hire people like you hope to manage, you hope to control, but you give them direction. At SoBe, again, we had a lot of people that frankly weren't involved in the beverage business, but then went on and did very, very well in the beverage business, starting their own brands. So I'm not a big let's give 10% of this and 10% of that, because I think ultimately people want to relate to a brand because it's good for them. It makes them feel good. And they're not going to buy something just because it helps somebody else. That being said, we work very hard at minimizing the plastics and materials in our products to make sure that they're all recyclable. We're now looking at a new cardboard-based carrier for our canned products to replace that plastic it's called a high cone that's created so many issues in the water. So we'll do some of those things as we go along. And frankly, Reed's is based on the whole concept of ginger being a plant-based, better-for-you kind of a beverage, but it has to be refreshing. It has to taste good. People don't want to drink castor oil. And we're building the concept around vitamin G, which is kind of it's a holistic concept. So we'll do it with that, but I'm not big on sustainability per se. But we'll do things to minimize the impact we have on the environment. But just to do it for the sake of doing it and thinking that's going to drive your business, I think is a mistake. I can't think of any brand that I can be aware of sitting here. You might be able to tell me, but that does that. So My give back is create value, create jobs, create tax revenue, make people feel good about themselves, and help build their careers.
So we mentioned Reed's. What's this all about? And how'd you get started with them?
I came to Reed's. I didn't start it. It was started in 1989 by, frankly, a hippie who said, I can create a line of ginger products. Ginger beer has always been a niche product, mostly in the Caribbean. And he brought it to market here in the United States under his name, Reed's, Christopher Reed. And he bought real ginger, which is a well-known, and it's even becoming a lot more well-known, therapeutic kind of product that helps with nausea, helps with inflammation and other things. Ginger ale, for example, is something your mom always gave you when you had nausea or when you were sick. That's what you would drink. Problem is with most of the big ginger ales, in fact, all the ginger ales except for Reed's, they don't have any ginger in it. So it's a placebo. Sometimes placebo works, but we're making the point that we, in fact, do have real ginger that we source out of Peru. We grind it up and put it in our ginger beer and now in our ginger ales, because the ginger beer user and the ginger ale user are vastly different. The ginger beer business is about $100 million. The ginger ale business is $1.2 billion, of which Canada Dry is half of that. So we really evolved our whole marketing concept. I came to the company basically to save the founder. He took the company public. There was a shareholder revolt, and he asked me if I would come on board and work with him to stabilize the company, raise some money, and help make it work, which I did about 4 years ago. And we're in the process. We actually put a lot of money into it, but really revamping the whole marketing platform, the labels, the design. But the reason I took it was I really felt good that ginger was a good product. You could actually make claims about ginger that were real. And we thought there was an opportunity to expand our distribution footprint. At the time, it started in the natural beverage arena like Whole Foods, which has grown significantly, but you can't build a brand at Whole Foods. You need much broader market penetration, which we've done now that we're in Publix, we're in Kroger, we're in HEB. We've got a good distribution overlay, and we're expanding into convenience stores, which is 40% of the beverage business, with our line of products. And what we do say is that we are all natural. And we even have a line of zero sugar products, which, number one, have no sugar in it, but have no artificial sweeteners like aspartame. It's sweetened with natural ingredients like stevia and monk fruit, and it tastes great, almost as good as full sugared Coke or Pepsi. Our basic philosophy is that we are an all-natural, healthy refreshment beverage line. But again, it's not enough. You have to have some fun. And we're looking at ways of doing that at this point. And we've come up with a lot of different concepts. It's all about building awareness, getting people into your franchise. And I have to say that because we were a natural channel oriented and we were grocery oriented, we did not have a lot of on-premise restaurant availability or even liquor store availability. So people were buying a competitive product, Fever Tree being a big one, Gosling's being another big one, to mix. So our brand has really a double positioning. One, it's better for you. Number two, it's a lifestyle product that makes the best Moscow mules, which are very hot these days, and dark and stormies and other mixed cocktails. So we've expanded all of that, and we're building out our footprint, and our business is up 45, 50%. We think a lot of that was COVID related as people stopped going out and they started doing whatever they were doing in the on-premise restaurant kinds of places with their alcoholic beverage consumption by buying and trying our product. As a result of that, our awareness has increased, our consumption has increased, and the business, frankly, is on fire. So we're pursuing production, and our production's a little more complicated than just than most other products where they just put a whiff of ginger extract in there. We actually put ginger in our products. So to get it produced, we have to add a step to the process, which adds costs. But Norm is now my CEO here, and he knows that backwards and forwards. He was a brewer for a while after he left SoBe. So again, it's about putting the team together. The head of sales is my old SoBe guy at sales. So I got the old band back again, and I do what I do best. I go out in the stores and make sure that what I expect in terms of execution and implementation is actually happening. I think that's one of the keys to my success. I'm on the ground. I visit customers, spend time with them. I spent this whole weekend with a customer for Sprouts. They're going to bring in a bunch of our ginger ales, which they haven't had because they think the consumers like it. It's healthy. It's consistent with their marketing. And they wanted something that was a little different and a little innovative, so we created some products for them. And I'm engaged, and it's fun for me. And I added into my whole lifestyle at this point in time, but I really have faith and confidence in my team, and they understand what it takes and what it takes to make me happy. And I used to like to say the lizard lurks. In other words, I'm out there, and you'll see me there in the stores, checking out our pricing, checking out who the competition is, and making sure that what we've executed is actually working. When I started at General Foods, most of the people that were working in the marketing group there were all MBAs from these great schools, Harvard, Yale, et cetera. They didn't spend virtually any time out with the sales force. And I just said, this is who we're putting together marketing programs for. And then consumers, because once you're in the store, you're basically interacting with not only the customer, which is the chain people, but also the consumers who are at the shelf, and you get a reaction. And I did that, and I think it served me very well. And I make sure that anybody I hire spends time in the Salesforce function, just so they understand what it really takes to win in the marketplace with selling, to understand the nuances of how you can make it better, down to where you are on the shelf. And people talk about that, but it really is true. If it's high, it won't fly. If it's on the floor, it stays on the store. So you need that eye-level stuff. And it's all basic. It's intuitive, frankly, but not everybody gets it or is willing to do the work to make it happen. My expectation is you do the work, and I always would say to my people, you be good or you're gone. It was that simple. Most of the folks that stayed with the program did very, very well in all of the businesses I've been in.
That's quite a testament. Reed's is flourishing and growing, and it's fun to watch. So, John, talk to me about our alma mater, Tufts University. You received the Distinguished Service Award from Tufts. The athletic field is dedicated to you and your wife, Nancy, and you've served as a trustee for decades. What does Tufts mean to you?
Yeah, there's three things that are important to me in my life. My family, my mother and father, immigrants, or sons and daughters of immigrants. They gave me a good foundation and taught me the value of hard work. I went to Tufts, two reasons. My guidance counselor in the little town in Connecticut I grew up sent the football coach there a recommendation for me. Most of the schools and the smaller schools, they're looking for quality athletes or good athletes that really could do the work. And I was the only one on my team that probably could do the work because my father wouldn't let me get away with anything. And I got into Tufts, and I got in the Navy program because I wanted to pay for my education because he was putting two other kids through school. And Tufts did a lot for me. It really broadened my horizons. Those are the doors you go through, and you meet new people and you get new experiences. I had a great experience there. I played football. I got killed. I was in the Navy program, which helped me in the summer. I was in a fraternity there, and I think I was in the same one that you were in, where I really got an exposure to a broad cross-section of people that taught me a lot. It was fun. It made the whole experience fun. I met my wife there. We've been married for 51 years, and we've been together for that long. So Tufts to me was a breakout for a young man that was in a small town where most of his friends stayed in that small town, and they're still there. It created the pathway for me to experience the world, starting with the Navy. So I really felt good about it. I also understood, its strengths and weaknesses relative to what it was as an institution. And I thought that I could spend time, effort, and energy making it better. They frustrated me in a lot of ways and still do, but I really focused my energies on improving the athletic department there, which was always a step behind from a facility standpoint. So I decided to spend whatever philanthropic time, energy, and resources that I had on Tufts and focus on, again, this is the focus piece, on the athletic department. And the school has totally evolved into an athletic powerhouse, Division III athletic powerhouse without compromising its academic standards. And that, I think, makes people proud to be alumni because they like seeing their name in the paper as winners. We've had 11 division championships since, I'm not I'm not giving myself credit for this, but after the success that we had with SoBe, we agreed to put in a turf field at Tufts because I thought it would be hugely beneficial to a number of the sports, including field hockey as well as lacrosse and other field sports. Put that in, and once it went in, we've had 9 national championships with lacrosse, field hockey, soccer, and other sports that are played on that field. I always said, put the facilities in, hire great coaches, and the athletes will come. Tufts has Boston as an attraction as well. It's a great academic institution. It paved the way for me in a lot of ways. And, there are a lot of people that come at you with worthy causes, including, the business school at Dartmouth, which I had a great experience in. They frankly set me off in my marketing career, but I decided to concentrate all my focus and energy and effort. Not that I don't help Dartmouth. I spent a lot of time up there, teach class or do visiting kinds of things there. But Tufts is something that I thought that my skill set and my resources could really help and make whatever contributions I make really multiply 3 or 4-fold. And I'll continue to do that. My son went there. Again, I found my wife there. So it really set the stage for me in my life. And my business partner at SoBe was from Tufts. I have business partners now and other things I'm doing. They're from Tufts. And I'm proud of it. And it's a great school, and it's really evolved.
You've done an amazing job there, and it's electrifying because when you give, it brings other people along and increases giving to tremendous levels. On that note, while you were on the stage of receiving the Tufts Legends of Innovation and Entrepreneurship Award, you surprised a packed crowd of 500 plus people with a big unexpected gift to Tufts Athletics that brought the crowd to their feet for a standing rousing ovation that lasted several minutes. Do you have any philanthropic news that you would like to share with our listening audience that has not been shared publicly?
Well, yeah, I think your audience will be amused by this. Actually, whenever I show up at Tufts, the athletic department makes sure that I have a large and adoring crowd hanging from the rafters. I think you gave me an award, which was a piece of crystal, and I made the comment. I didn't know I was on the mic. Gee, piece of crystal. My wife wins all the events. She's a great tennis player, and she has like a trophy room in our home. And I said, I don't have any trophies other than the ones I put in the bank. And I think people heard that and they thought that was all my trophies are in the bank. They thought that was pretty amusing. Having said that, I think I committed to at the time actually driving the fundraising for the squash center, which we hadn't had as a school. In fact, our squash team had to travel to Harvard and a local prep school to play. It's a game that people love, and my family loved it. In addition to a cornerstone gift that we gave, I went out and helped raise money along with the advancement group for the rest of it, and it was built within 6 months. And actually, it was supposed to be dedicated last year, but it was called off because of COVID. So we're going to get that done soon, and you'll be invited to that. It's great. It's an unbelievable facility in addition to the school. I always believed kids deserve to have great facilities. Good facilities, and so they could go out and pursue their sports. And also, we did some things relative to endowments for coaches so that we got better coaches so they could pay more than what the budget would allow for. And that's my belief. I think if you have great coaches, great facilities, you set the stage for kids to go out and really broaden their base in terms of what they learn at college. I believe 50 to 60, 70% of what you do at college is what you do with your classmates and the fun you have at the school, in addition to learning things and preparing yourself for the next step. In my step, it was Vietnam, in my case.
John, this has been fantastic. His name is John Bello. He's currently the chairman of Reed's, maker of Reed's Ginger Beer and Virgil products. And he's also managing director of JONA Investments. John, thanks for coming on.
Well, if it's helpful, I'm glad. I help kids too. They call, I take the call. Just don't give them my telephone number yet.
To connect with David, go to davidradlow.com. David's book, Principles of Cartel Disruption, Accelerate and Maximize Performance, is now available wherever books are sold. This has been Sustainable Leadership and Disruptive Growth with David Radlow, a presentation of Forbes Books.